because you want to know more, or you're making a choice in your life, or you're balancing things out, you're weighing your options. And just congratulations on just joining, because I think it's a great thing that you start thinking outside the box, looking at different perspectives and asking good questions. So yeah, my name is Omar. I graduated with nursing in 2022, and I went into the master's program after taking a long break after my bachelor's. And actually, I did my bachelor's at a school that I chose because I really wanted small class sizes. I really wanted better relationships with my teachers in case I needed extra help or needed insight on something. I wanted to get involved more in campus. And that choice was actually Elmhurst. So I went to Elmhurst back when it was a college for undergrad. And the reason I actually chose it for graduate school was kind of because of reputation, but because of what I already knew about Elmhurst going in and the success that I had. Now, undergrad and graduate by no means was easy. It was a really tough journey, but I think having teachers that really took it upon themselves to have that culture of my success is your success, that's definitely what helped me out. And also the collaborating with other schoolmates and peers, that also helped me a lot. And the experience that they gave me too. So after graduating from undergrad, I did different types of jobs until I figured out my niche when it came to healthcare. I knew I always wanted to go to healthcare. And as I was getting healthcare experience in different types of ways, I really fell in love with nursing. I was surrounded by nurses all the time at work, and I really enjoyed seeing what they did, how gritty they sometimes were, how they had to always be fixing things and being on their feet. And I really admire that. So when I started also like you guys weighing my options on where to go, there was a lot of competition, a lot of different schools. But something really interesting is by the time that I was looking at graduate schools, I was already married. So now I was going into a new journey with a partner. And I was going into a new journey that required time, that required money. So I know that's on your guys' mind too. This is a big decision. But at the end of the day, we did choose Elmhurst because of that reputation. Did the nursing program, and today I'm working at Loyola as a cardiovascular um, ICU nurse over there. And I'm trying to apply more and more of what I learned in my master's, which was a focus on clinical leadership by doing different quality improvement projects and protocols and procedures. But yeah, learning a lot, and I've been there for 6 months.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Omar. Really appreciate that. It's good to get to know you and hear a little bit more of your story. And Adam, we'd love to hear your story as well.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Adam Fritschall. So my Elmhurst experience started also in Elmhurst College. Before it was a university, I went there for my undergraduate, and I enjoyed my experience a lot. I already found that I had a very good rapport with my teachers and my colleagues that I had built in undergrad. And I was accepted to the grad program there, and I didn't really have to think twice about it. It felt like a very natural transition in my life to kind of stick with where I already felt there was a lot put into me and just keep on giving more to the Elmhurst community while they gave back to me. So it was a really reciprocal relationship, and I agreed with everything Omar said in terms of the dedication of the teacher and having those more like intimate class sizes. Definitely didn't make it easier. It was still a hard thing, but that's going to be anywhere that you go. But I think at Elmhurst, you're getting that quality education that's going to take you the next step further in your career. So I went there for my graduate schooling, and then I graduated about 2 years ago. I am a speech language pathologist now. I started at a outpatient clinic near Austin, Texas, and then last year I switched to home health. So I'm doing home health right now in the Austin area. I really enjoy it, and then I am working on starting my own private practice soon, which should be something I'm going to start shortly, and maybe even branch out to research in the near future too. I think it's such a cool field because you can really change up what you're doing and you're not stuck at all. And Elmhurst really did a good job of preparing me for all aspects of, what I could get into as a speech pathologist. So I've really enjoyed the experience.
That's awesome. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. It sounds sounds like your background's very versatile and like very well-rounded in terms of like bouncing around the field. So it's cool to hear a lot about those different opportunities that you have and different things that you can kind of shift around and look into. But I know you've both touched on it just a little bit in your, in your intros and in your stories, but I'd be curious to hear about if you had one thing that stuck out as like your favorite thing about your graduate school experience. What would you say that one thing is?
I think when I started with this irrational fear that I was going to go through it so lonely. Here we are entering graduate school now in our 20s. We're not as social as we were before. People have families and, they won't tag along after class. So I was like really afraid of kind of doing this alone. I think one of my favorite memories was seeing that irrational thought completely be broken. It is not that everybody was just dying to make friends, but people who entered these graduate programs, they really do believe in community and they do believe in kind of like walking together throughout it. So I remember like all of a sudden these like social group chats, whether it was GroupMe or through Facebook, they would be coming along like no tomorrow, and everybody would be adding each other and making sure nobody was left out. And that's when the collaboration happened. It was literally from day one. And I'm pretty sure it's the same for any other. I mean, Adam can be a testament to it. He'll speak on it. But that was my favorite memory. Kind of like my thoughts, irrational thoughts of being alone throughout it, just being broken. There was so much community, and some of it was social. But more importantly, especially with school, it was about getting to the finish line. It was about passing. It was about getting the most out of it, and it really felt like we were together throughout it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Omar. And I do not have a background in nursing. I do not have a background in speech language pathology, but I did my master's degree in counseling and finished up during the pandemic. And I can definitely attest to that feeling of, when you're in your cohort and you have your community of people that are likewise and like-minded, trying to learn the same things and trying to progress in the same career field. It's so nice to know that you have people who have your back when you may be struggling with a homework assignment, or there might be some things happening outside of the classroom, outside of school, that you could use some advice and somebody to lean on. So that's really cool to hear that you had that experience. And then Adam, I'd love to pass the mic over to you and see, potentially what your favorite part of your graduate school experience was.
Yeah, I think that it's in a similar vein to Omar. I developed some very good relationships with my cohort, and now some of them are very good friends of mine. I recently went to one of their weddings in Arizona, and it's just been very nice to keep up with these people, both personally and then also like professionally too, because now these are people that work in my career, in my field, but have different experiences and are in different parts of the country. And they're people that I can kind of talk to and use as resources. I think that feeling kind of never goes away. Just like when I was in grad school, I would ask them questions or we would do study dates. Like we can still work on those kinds of things together and like problem solve, just in a different way than before. And I think that's really nice to kind of have that community of people that you can look out for even after grad school.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. Thanks for sharing. And just to build off of that a little bit, I know we touched on, the work-life balance of school, of graduate school, of maybe having a partner, maybe having family responsibilities and different things that we have to juggle when we're, working towards our aspirations and working towards our goals of earning a higher degree. I'd just be curious to hear your take and maybe get some feedback on how you were able to juggle those responsibilities, whether they be personal, whether they be professional. But if you could maybe touch on how you managed to make that work, not only during a ongoing pandemic, but during graduate school as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And it's a really tough one too, and people do ask me that. Friends that are younger than me or community members at my church ask, "Oh, Omar, you were able to do this and this. How did you do it?" And there isn't one great answer, but I think one thing that I had to accept is that I couldn't put the other parts of my life on pause. At this age, at this season of life, I just couldn't put other things on pause. And maybe not everybody agrees with me, and that's okay. But for example, my wife, I wasn't going to put her on pause. Being in the leadership and being the music director at my church, I couldn't put that on pause. Working the job that I had, night shift, I just couldn't put that on pause. I didn't have the luxury, but nor did I believe in that. So really accepting that there's different parts of my life that really complete me, and school is just one of them, really made me give it my all to each one of those parts. And of course, it was never perfect. I did have to mature in a lot of areas and change, be more disciplined. This is a time that I have for school, maybe a couple hours, and I got to hit that as hard as I can and be the best that I can. And sometimes I had to let go that I wasn't going to get straight A's all the time. I actually ended up doing really, really well. But letting go of just thinking about this as just being a letter grade and more about this is just one part of my life that I want to enjoy and make the most of it really made me successful. But it also made me successful in the other parts of my life that mean so much to me. So that's my advice, to not put anything on pause, but bring everything into order, into a nice discipline, into this new season of your life, and keep changing, keep learning new ways to organize and discipline yourself. Be open to new ways and know yourself better when it comes to learning.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Omar. I really appreciate the message there and the sentiment. It really is, finding that right mindset, or, not right mindset, because there's open mindset versus closed mindset, thinking about things in terms of, this is a journey to where I'm going, not a destination and I get there and then it's over. It's going to be ever changing and ever evolving as well. Just like, you mentioned in your story, and just as any of us who end up pursuing a higher degree, or for that, just anything that you're trying out new in your life. But really appreciate that. And then Adam, would love your take on how you juggled different responsibilities throughout graduate school.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to juggle. So I think it's a great question. I think that you really got to remember that, kind of like Omar said, it's not your only identity. You have other parts of you. During grad school, I went through just a very big experience in my life that was that I had to take care of. And it was something that I kind of put on the back burner for a while and wasn't open about it. But I was, for the first time, very open with my cohort about kind of my struggles and what I needed help with. And I think that a lot of people struggle in grad school. I have memories of a lot of people crying in a lot of different places during grad school. That's going to happen at any school you go to, though. That's the fact of grad school. I think that it is being open about your struggles, whether it be to your cohort or to your professors. Know that nobody's going to just let you fall through the cracks. Like, you're not just going to fall, but you've got to be open about what you need. And what is going on with you, because nobody is a mind reader. Nobody can just tell, but nobody's going to let you just fail either. They're there to support you. But I think it's kind of giving yourself that chance to be supported if you need it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And it's as basic as it sounds. Sometimes we hear the saying, nothing changes if nothing changes, which sounds a little silly, but, we don't ask for help and we don't share that we need help, it's hard to get help, because nobody's a mind reader. And, in this day and age, people are stressed. People are handling a lot of different things and juggling a lot of different things. So that's great to hear some real life feedback from people who have really, pushed through and made it. So really appreciate that. But we're coming close to the end of our panel, and just out of respect for everyone's time, I want to make sure we stay on schedule. And Omar and Adam, I know you're both busy, so we don't want to keep you too long, but any feedback or last words of wisdom that you would share with prospective graduate students, or with students that are looking to go into graduate school?
Yeah, for sure. I think involve the people in your life that you love a lot, that are important to you, in part of making this decision with you. I know you're going to invest time, you're going to invest money, you're going to invest your effort into graduate school, and there's different choices and options out there. I've always been a big advocate, I know, with Elmhurst because of my experience, but also when we went to clinicals or now that I'm in the workforce, I do see differences in the culture of whether it's the way we think, whether it's the way that we work, whether it's our strive for excellence. Of course, that's up to each person, but I think Elmhurst had a very special place where they nurtured that and they allowed me and helped me think outside of the box and see a little bit past what's simple. So I advocate for Elmhurst for sure, but involve your family, involve your loved ones into making a good decision. And I gave, I think, good advice about not putting things in your life on pause. I think that's a good one. And the last thing I want to say is to enjoy it. I think it's going to be a very stressful time, no matter where you go, whether it's because the content is hard or whether it's because you're balancing 10 million things as you probably are, but enjoy it, enjoy the difficulty, enjoy the process, and enjoy it knowing that you're also doing this along with others who are very different from you, but alike in many ways. And also professors and teachers who know what you're going through, who got your back, also have different personalities, but that's what makes them interesting. That's what makes them good. But the more you invest, I've seen them invest back into me and back into my peers. So that's my experience, and that's my words of advice. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Omar. And not to be cliche here, but teamwork truly does make the dream work. So definitely love that. Absolutely. And then Adam, would love to hear your words of wisdom.
Yeah, you guys are definitely about to make a very big decision of where you're going to be spending a couple of years of your life, where you're going to get that graduate education. It is a big call to make. I think one thing is just thinking about what your priorities are. Do you want to be in a rural area? Do you want to be in a more suburban area? Bigger class sizes, smaller class sizes. I think Elmhurst has the very unique perspective of just giving this very intimate education where it's research focused and evidence based. And Elmhurst also carries a lot of accolades for a lot of their programs. So I think there is a lot of very good stuff there. And then once you make that decision and you are in school, I think that having a great time is going to be very important too, and trying to make it so it is a memorable experience. So, go out to downtown Elmhurst and go to one of the bars or restaurants that are lovely there, or like take a trip to Chicago with your cohort or your friends and make it the experience that it can be, because grad school should also be fulfilling for you. So I think use those resources, but Elmhurst would be a great place to end up. I enjoyed it and hope that if you guys decide to go there, that you do too.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Adam. And thank you, Omar, for joining us. We're right on. We're right on time at 10:45. So, we'll go ahead and wrap up the alumni panel here. And thank you all for bearing with us this morning. I know it's hard to give up time on your Saturdays and on your hard-earned, well-deserved weekends.